notes and shit. I don't. Snoop Dogg. It gets Snoop Dogg. Da-da-da-da-da. What up? 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 Mm-hmm. What up? What up? What up? Jersey in the house. What's up, Jersey? All right. Henry O'Neal. What up? Fief, what up? Yes, sir. Get what real app? Keegan, what real app are you talking about? What up, Miles? How you doing, brother? Running good? All right. All right. This is what's up. Oh, this dude in here with this football stuff. Here we go. What's going on, guys? Y'all running good today? All right. We good today. All right. I ain't been on in a minute, so I want to start the conversation with the Warriors winning the NBA championship, which is super dope. I did have them winning it when they got to the finals. I had them beating the Celtics in 6 games. I did not have them beating the Celtics. I did not have them beating the Celtics 3 straight, especially after the way the Celtics handled them in game 1 and when they went up in the series in game 3. I did not have them beating the Celtics 3 straight games. But I think that they beat the Celtics more than anything. I think they beat the Celtics more than anything at their own game. I absolutely believe that. And because they beat the Celtics at their own game, and the Celtics weren't able to ever play because the Celtics beat them at the Warriors game, which I can get with that. But they were never really able to play their own game. They were never able to do that. And because they was never able to do that, they were never able to really get a rhythm and get on track. The Warriors kept these dudes on the defense. Kept them on the defense. I can't say enough about how important it is when you got a great defensive team to make them dudes guard. Because what you do is you test their discipline. And that's what the Golden State Warriors did. If you look at the Boston Celtics, their action offensively was one pass, Jason Tatum, you go. One pass, Jaylen Brown, you go. They were getting things in transition. And a lot of that stuff was off turnovers, which did make a lot of sense. I could get with that. But I could definitely get with that. But they never really made the Warriors guard. And when they did, that's when they were successful, when the ball was moving, when people were hopping. That's when they were successful. And that's why the Warriors were successful, because they made Boston guard for stretches. We're talking about making these dudes guard for 2. Instead of the whole 24 seconds, they have to guard for 20 of the 24 seconds. There are no one-pass shots unless it's in transition and Andrew Wiggins is wide open for a layup, or he's knocking down a 17-footer, or Curry is wide open, or Clay is wide open. When they get in that half court, that ball is hopping. And they keeping you guys on the defense. Definitely keeping you guys on the defense. And I'm digging the Warriors for that. I'm absolutely digging the Warriors for that. And the thing that I'm thinking about more than anything with the Warriors now is the thing that I'm thinking about now with the Warriors more than anything is how they're going to keep this group together. Like Jordan Poole is restricted, so he can't just walk out the front door. Andrew Wiggins got another year on his deal, and he's down to re-up. Absolutely, he's down to re-up, and I think that they're down to re-up him. You still got your rooks, and Kuminga, he'll be back next season. Wiseman will be back next season. I think Damian Lee is going to be better. You still got Steph in the fold. You still got Clay in the fold. You still got Clay in the fold. You still got Steph in the fold. Draymond got 2 more years left on his deal. I'm sorry, 1 more year. After next season, he's done. So the question is what is it going to be? The question is what is it going to take to keep this group together? And how far are you willing to go over the cap? Because it's going to cost, right? It's going to cost. No doubt about that, it's going to cost. This one thing I found out about pro basketball is it is not like the NFL. You are not winning on the cheap in pro basketball. You got to pay dudes. You have to pay guys if you're trying to win. You definitely got to pay guys. So I don't see any reason why they won't be. I'm not saying win the NBA championship next year, but be viable. I didn't think that they could beat Phoenix. I thought that Phoenix was more of a complete team, and the way that they were playing, I just thought that they were better. And Chris Paul just reintroduced himself to me again, man, and they went to pieces. They went right to pieces, and I'm not surprised. I shouldn't be surprised. I'm not going to say I'm not surprised. I shouldn't be surprised at what transpired between them. So I think that this Boston Celtics team, I think they're going to be around for a while, but I think Milwaukee's going to be back next year. I think that they run it back. Excuse me. I think that they look at this Boston team and they say to themselves, our second best player, if he's available, we beat these dudes. If our second best player is available, we beat these dudes. So we don't really need much. We do need to shore up in the middle, and we need to get a big guy in here, younger. But if we can do that, we'll be right back in the middle of it. We'll be right back in the middle of it because we still got the best player in the game. We still got the best perimeter defender in the game. Yes, better than Marcus Smart. I think Drew Holiday is a better perimeter defender than Marcus Smart. So I think that they'll be right back in the middle of it. And the Eastern Conference is back. The Eastern Conference is absolutely back. Now, as far as Steph Curry being a top 10 player, if he's a top 10 player winning the NBA championship, then that means that he was already that for you. This shouldn't change that. This should not change that, because I'm trying to figure out when you get to a point where when you get to a point where a lot of the stuff is close. All right, what's the separator? When you talk about when you talk about becoming a top 10 player. So my top 10 players of all time: James, Jordan, Jabbar, Chamberlain, Russell, Magic, Bird, Duncan, Olajuwon, Diesel. So if he's close, what's the separator? Like, why does he have to come out? Who has to come out of that? Who has to come off of that list in order for him to be on it? When I think about guys who have to come off that list in order for him to be on it, I'm having a difficult time with a lot of those, with any of those guys. And the reason why is because how long they were great. Now, the good thing about Curry now is that he's still got some time. But I'm going to cut this short because Big Tater wants to talk to me. You think that Olajuwon has to come off the list? Let's talk about Olajuwon for a second. Olajuwon had a 10-year stretch, okay? Let's talk about this for a second. I don't have to talk about the other guy because I'm not like that. See, when you get in a debate with people, they talk about the other guy and talk down about them. I don't have to do that. And the reason why I don't have to do that is simply because the guy that I'm talking about is enough. So let's talk about Olajuwon for a second. So Hakeem Olajuwon had a 10-year stretch where he went 25 and 12 and almost 4 blocks. That production went up in the playoffs. He went 27, 13, and 4 blocks. Okay? Olajuwon, we talk about him being able to score the basketball. His ability to score the basketball, he's got 2 of the 6 highest playoff scoring productions in the history of professional basketball. 725 points in one stretch, which was surpassed by 666 points, 64 points by Olajuwon. He's got a top 5. He doesn't have a top 5 season all time. Let me rephrase that. He might have the greatest single season in NBA history. He was the league MVP, won the NBA championship. He was the finals MVP. He was the defensive player of the year. There's nobody in the history of the NBA who can say that they've done all of those things in one season. Okay? All of those things in one season. I'm glad you mentioned that stats don't win. Stats don't win rings. Actually, they do. And the reason why stats win rings, because your stats are what your production is. So stats do win rings. Hakeem Olajuwon led the playoffs in scoring 3 times. He led the playoffs in rebounding 3 times. He actually led the league in rebounding a bunch of different times. He's the best defensive player, in my opinion, in the history of the NBA. He's got the best footwork of any big man and arguably any player in NBA history. None in the history of the NBA. He's definitely got the best footwork of any big man. He's arguably got the best footwork of any player in NBA history. When he retired in 2002, he retired all time, and he retired in the top 10 in points, blocks, and steals, and he finished 11th, which is right outside the top 10, in rebounding. These how many guys in the history of the game can say that they've done that. He's a 12-time All-NBA performer. He was that guy right from the beginning. He wasn't that guy over the course of 3, 4, 5 years. He was that guy right from day one. And he became that guy for a 12 to 15-year stretch before he went out. So I don't have to talk about the other guy when I talk about the guy that I think is there. So that's that. Now, where was I? I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. So when I talk about Steph Curry being a top 10 player, I moved him ahead of Oscar Robertson and Jerry West. I don't have him as a point guard, as you guys know. I think he's an awesome combo guard. I put him in the same category with guys like Jerry West, Allen Iverson. I put him in that kind of category. I don't think that he's a point guard. Now, you can be, which I've always felt like this, you could be a great player, but I could be better than you at what I do specifically. Right? You could be an awesome player, but I could be better than you at what I do specifically. You will never get me. I think that James is a better player than Magic. But if you strapped me down in a chair and used the Chinese torture technique of death by 1,000 small cuts, you will never get me to admit that LeBron James is a better point guard than Magic Johnson. You'll never get me to admit that because it ain't true. I think Steph Curry is a better player than John Stockton. I think he's a better player than Isaiah Thomas. He ain't a better point guard than them dudes, though. No, he is not. He is not that. Now, with that also being said, I have Steph Curry moved ahead of Jerry West. I have him moved ahead of Oscar Robertson. I have him at 12 behind Bryant, Shaq, Olajuwon, Duncan, Bird, Magic, Russell, Chamberlain, Jabbar, Jordan, James. And I think about my top. The good thing about Steph Curry being able to crack the top 10 is that he still got some time left. He still has some time left. It's not like Steph Curry is in a position where his career is over. No, his career isn't over. In fact, even though he's on the other side of his prime, he's still in it. So I still think that he's there. In fact, he's moving up in the list. He's absolutely moving up in the list because I had him at 14 all time. And now the fact that he's done what he's done, that has to move him up. I think so. Absolutely it does. So that's my rant about Curry. I like I said, I think that it's good I think that it's good that he's still playing and he's still in his prime. I think that that's really good. I got Tim Duncan right in front of Olajuwon at 8. There is not going to be a Dwayne Wade. That's your name. What do you mean excuse? Am I making excuses? I'm not making an excuse. An excuse is it's repetitive. I'm not making any excuses. These are reasons. I don't think you're there yet. That's not an excuse. That's a 12-year-old comment. What excuse? What do you mean an excuse? I don't understand what that means. That is not ridiculous to say that right there. It is not. The fact that Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, a.k.a. Chris Jackson, a.k.a. Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, he's essentially Steph Curry before Steph Curry. Yes, he is. That is true. Wilt did play in another era where he got 2 chips and the guy got 11. I'm glad you mentioned that, War, because you leaving out the fact that he also played in an era where there's only one team to beat that guy that got 11 championships. There's only one team to beat that guy, to beat that team in the entire decade. It was his team. No other team could say that they did that. None. No other team. And that matters. Whether it matters to you, that's something else. But I can tell you with 100% certainty, the fact that he was able to be on a team that beat that team, no other team can say that they did that. Not from 60 to 68. No, Bob Pettit beat him when he was a rook. A rook? I think he was a rook when Bob Pettit beat him. Yeah, Bob Pettit beat him when he was a rook. From 60 to 69, only one team beat him. That's it. So that matters. Whether it matters to you, because I can turn around and say to you, well, I think about this time during the freedom of movement era. And the reason why these guys are scoring all these points is because you couldn't put hands on a guy. You could not put hands on a guy. So, but that's a terrible, because that was the era. And I don't want to discount what James did. I don't want to discount what Curry did. I don't want to discount what James Harden did. I don't want to discount what Kyrie Irving, Russell Westbrook, and Chris Paul, and all of those guys, Kevin Durant. I can't discount what they did. No. And I will not discount what those guys did. No. Yeah, I'm not going there. Nope. That's why, as much as in terms of a talent, I think that Giannis is very much can be a top 10 talent, no doubt about that. But he just ain't been around long enough. Like if he quit today, or if his production went the other way, we can't have this conversation. No. Hey, hang on for a second, guys. What do you want to talk about in terms of football? What's going on with football, Random? Because I know that there's other guys on the internet that talk football. I know that for a fact. But you clearly want to talk football with me. So, all right, what's on your mind, my man? What's the deal here? What's on your mind? Because I'm not on the fence about this. I'm certain that there's other people on here that talk football, but you want to talk football with me. So what's on your mind, my man? I'm listening. I can get with that logic, Pete Giannis and Pete KG. Yeah, I can get with that. It's the problem that I'm having is Giannis just got good. This is not a situation where we have to anoint Giannis. I think Giannis is the best player in the game, and I think Giannis is the best player in the game because of what he's done leading up to that, leading up to them winning the NBA championship and what he did this season. So this isn't. I'm not one of these people that's drunk off of. I'm not one of these people that's drunk off of him winning the NBA championship. No, it was leading up to that. Absolutely not. It was leading up to that. I think the NFC is wide open. I think the NFC is wide open. I think that the NFC South just got closed because Tom Brady's going to be back next year. And not only is Tom Brady going to be back next year, I think that they're going to be better. as a whole. I think Evans is going to be better. I think that they showed up that offensive line. There's a reason why Tom Brady came back. That's a big deal. That's a huge deal. But the NFC as a whole, the NFC East is whack. I look at the Giants. I think Danny Dimes is going to be better. I think that Philadelphia is going to be better. I think Justin Fields. I think he takes a step forward. They shored up that. They showed up that receiving core. I think that's a big deal. Absolutely. I think the Commanders are going to be better, but I'm good on their quarterback. I keep saying his name wrong. I'm good on their quarterback. I think he's a stopgap. I don't think he's a franchise quarterback. And I know who the Dallas Cowboys are. As good as the Cowboys always seem to start out as, I know who they are. And I'm not surprised with the Cowboys at all. I'm not. So the NFC North is wide open with the exception of Green Bay and losing who they lost, losing their wide receiver. Aaron Rodgers losing his wide receiver, that's a big deal. That's a huge deal. Chicago's going to be better. Minnesota, I think Minnesota takes a step back. Not only does Minnesota take a step back, I think Detroit's going to be a lot better this season too. I do. I think Detroit is going to be a lot better than what people give them credit for. I think they had 7 losses last year that were one-possession games. 7 of them. And that's a big deal. That's a huge deal. The NFC South, they still got a quarterback situation. Who's their quarterback in Carolina? We don't know. All right? Jameis Winston is coming off an ACL injury with the Saints. I don't know how good they're going to be. Is Mike Thomas going to be ready for training camp? Is he going to be ready to rock and roll? Who's their running back? Is their defense going to be better? Because don't let those stats fool you. That was fool's gold on that defense. And then I got the NFC West. The NFC West is, I don't know what's the story with Trey Lance. Debo's going to be back. I think that they're going to give him a bigger role, but I also think that they're going to pay him too. I don't think that it's going to be a situation where they don't. I think that they're going to pay him. So I look at the Rams. The Rams are the only team that's basically running it back. I think Seattle goes to the bottom of the NFC West, and I think the NFC is wide open. So if I had to pick a team in the NFC, I think it's a team that we ain't talking about. I do. I think in the NFC, it's a team that we're not talking about that is going to come out of nowhere. Because in the NFL, there's so much parity. So much parity. So I look at the NFC and I'm thinking to myself, who is a team in the NFC that could just come out of nowhere? Are they in the NFC North? You have to have a viable quarterback in today's game if you're gonna have an opportunity to win it. Your quarterback got to be at least better than average. So that eliminates Chicago. That eliminates Minnesota. Just in the NFC alone, that eliminates Chicago. That eliminates Minnesota. It also eliminates the Giants, and it also eliminates the Commanders. Because Wentz has done this. So, and in the NFC South, that eliminates Carolina. That eliminates Atlanta because Matty Ice coming back next season. I can't say with 100% certainty. I can't say with 100% certainty that I know what they're doing. So, Giannis at 27 is not the same accomplished as he's not as accomplished as Tim Duncan at age 27. That's corny to say that. And the reason why that's corny to say that is because first of all, Giannis at 27, he's been in the league for 9 years. So he came in the league at 19. Tim Duncan came in the league, he was 22. And Tim Duncan in 6 years won the NBA championship 3 times, won the league MVP back-to-back. So that 27 logic, that they at age 27, that doesn't work. And it's so disingenuous. And the reason why it's disingenuous is because Giannis was in the league longer. So that doesn't work. That just doesn't work. Depends on how they manage him. Depends on how they manage him. Tannehill has shown you that we can make the playoffs with me, but I'll give it up too. You can make the argument that Giannis is the top. What are you basing this on? You basing this on the fact that he won the league MVP, the Defensive Player of the Year, and the NBA championship? Is that what you're basing this on? Because, I mean, I do care about championships. Don't get me wrong. I do. I do care about championships. That stuff I do care about. But what I also care about is I care about you being awesome for a long time. I care about that. And Giannis just got nice. In terms of a talent, I think that Giannis is better than most, better than 90%. But when you talk about being a top 10 guy, you talk about being a top 3 guy. He wasn't better than Duncan. If he retired today, he was not better than Duncan. He wasn't better than Malone. No, he wasn't. Just 3 years ago, I want to make sure that I remember this correctly. Just 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, not last season, but the year before that, when they lost to the Miami Heat in the second round, I couldn't get one of you guys. I couldn't get one of you guys to tell me that the only reason why Giannis is not a top 3 power forward all time is because he doesn't have an NBA championship. 2 years ago, when they lost, there's no way you would tell me that. There's no way. I'm certain of that. When they lost to Toronto in the Eastern Conference Championship in 2019, there's no way you would have told me that. And he won the league MVP that year. And in 20, when they lost in the bubble, there's no way you would have told me that. So I want to know because Giannis won the league, because Giannis' team won the NBA championship, what did he do to catapult him from that to this? Because he won the NBA championship? Why is Malone better than Giannis? Because he did it longer. Malone's got a longer stretch of dominance. Malone got an 11-year stretch where he was 28 and 11. I'm not sure how your math works. That's almost 30 and 10 for over a decade. Money mid-range game. Elite defender. Malone was a top 10 defender for a lot of years. Now, I'll give Giannis the edge on defense. I'll give Giannis the edge on defense slightly, but I'll give him the edge on defense considering where they are. But when I think about that, I think about how much better Malone is offensively. 28 a game for over a decade. Who is running around in the NBA today that's averaged almost 30 a game for over a decade? Who is it? Tell me him. Tell me who's the guy in today's game where we're in 2022. We got a guy from 2012 to now who averaged almost 30 a game. And how do we talk about Bron, King? How do we talk about Bron, King? Where do we have Bron? How do we talk about him? Malone did that for over a decade. He averaged 28 a game. Now I know, well, he wouldn't be able to do that in today's game. I don't know why not. When I see how wide open the game is, and I see how fast he is, I see how athletic he is, the money mid-range game that he got, how abusive he was on the backboard, how abusive he was on the box, the free throw shooter that he was, how he improved every year. I'll tell you what, Brett, and last year I said this, and I think that he needs to get out of Sacramento because they're screwing him up. Davion Mitchell, he's my guy, and I think that they're screwing him up. This year, it's the big kid in Duke, not Pachero. I'm talking. Did I say his name right? Pachero, not him, but the other big kid, Williams. I think Williams is going to be an awesome pro. He just got to get in the right system. Mark, that's him. He just got to get in the right system. If the Milwaukee Bucks, if they could move up in the draft and get him, he would be perfect for what they're doing. He starts day one on that crew. He starts day one on that Milwaukee Bucks crew, and he's exactly what they're looking for. He's exactly what they're looking for. Athletic big, clean glass, rim protect, run the floor. He's exactly what they're looking for. He would be perfect for them. I'm loving him. Absolutely, I am. There's not a lot of guys that I'm digging in this draft. I dig the kid from Auburn. I think he looks like he might be a franchise player, or at least a cornerstone. He looks like he might be that. He looks like he may very well be that. So, Sep a better athlete, King. Sep a better athlete. That's what I think about when I think of him. My perfect NBA player? I don't have a perfect NBA player. James is the best that I've ever seen. Before him, it was Jordan. And before him, it was Doc and Jabbar. Mm-hmm. I dig Austin Reeves. Guys like Austin Reeves, I think that he's in a great situation with the Lakers because he could learn so much and be a really good role player. Austin Reeves is the kind of guy who I wouldn't put him in the same category with Kyle Korver, but he kind of gives me those vibes. He don't shoot it like Korver, but he gives me those vibes. Yeah, nobody talks about Jeff Malone as much as they do, as much as they should. I know I do. I absolutely do. Because everybody that talks about Stockton and Malone thinks Stockton was just passing the ball to Malone, when he did have Jeff Malone too, and Jeff Malone was 19 a game running around with Stockton. So, so are you a skill over legacy guy, or do you value accolades more? Well, number one, what I don't do is I don't differentiate between better basketball player, because like I said, better basketball player just means more talented. So I don't differentiate that whole greatness and better basketball player. I don't do those two things. And the reason why I don't do those two things is because I've seen bigger, faster, stronger, more skilled guys get outplayed. I've seen that. That's not something that I haven't seen. I've seen that time and time again. I saw Kobe Bryant get outplayed by Richard Hamilton. I saw Shaquille O'Neal get outplayed by Olajuwon. I saw LeBron James get outplayed by Dirk Nowitzki. I've seen those things. So the logic of better basketball player or more skilled, that doesn't really hold a lot of weight with me. I care about what you produce. That's what I care about. Just looking at you as a basketball player, you look awesome. Absolutely. But I look at that in the same light as I look at a chick. Yo, you look awesome. But come to find out, her job is funny. The people that she hang around is a little sketchy. She's a little sketchy. She's not very reliable. So I don't really pay. I pay attention to skill. Don't get me wrong. I care about that stuff. Excuse me. I care about that stuff. Hell yeah, I care about that stuff. But I don't care about it more than I care about what you produce. Because if I see this dude producing more than I see this dude that's more skilled, I care about him more. Yes, I do. I absolutely do. So they shouldn't put Giannis in the top 3 power forwards. He is still 27, an unfinished product. Boy, about this comparison, he is the first road. Absolutely, Ahmed. I do believe that. Yes. I think he's just getting started. Like Giannis isn't, I don't think Giannis is in the middle of his prime. I think he's in the beginning of it. We're talking about a dude who, we're in 22. So 18, 19 was when he started becoming that. So that was just 3 years ago. So he's in the beginning of that. He's not at a point where we're seeing the best of Giannis. No, I don't think we've seen the best of Giannis yet. I do not. Just like Jordan in the late 80s, when everybody was so Michael Jordan of 88, Michael Jordan of 89, Michael Jordan of 90. Everybody was thinking this is the best of Jordan. I'm thinking, I don't think we've seen the best of him. Now, in the 88, 89 season, I did feel like you're not going to get any more. But in terms of a player, I think that he became a better player in 91, in 92. This was the best of Jordan. So I don't think we've seen the best of Giannis yet. That's why I'm not ready to put him ahead of these guys, because I still think he's working on it. I do not believe that T-Mac should have made the top 75, because I'm trying to figure out who goes ahead, who comes off the list. I don't. This Paul George book logic, I'm having such a difficult time with it, man. So what up, Drew? How you doing, brother? How you doing? I'm thinking about a guy in today's game that could, like Kenyon Martin would be awesome today, because he could shoot the mid-range. He got out on a break. He was tough. He was gritty. He could rebound with the best of them. I'm trying to think of a guy today, a big today, that was similar to Kenyon Martin. I gotta think about that. But he was awesome. I absolutely gotta think about that. Jose, what's up, brother? How you doing? Yeah, I'm still making them. I just dropped one a couple of days ago, Jane. Jaime. Is it Jaime or is it Jane? Is it Jaime or is it Jamie? I just made today is Monday. I just made one on Saturday after the Warriors won the championship. I just made one. And I'm probably gonna drop a couple more tonight. Nah, Guts. I can't put him for Steph Curry to win another Finals MVP. Why would that put him ahead of Kobe? They would both have the same amount of finals. So where's the separator with Steph Curry and Kobe Bryant? Because when I think about Kobe as a player, I think about what he was on both sides of the basketball. Being a top 5, top 10 defender. I care about that stuff. So the fact that he won 2 MVPs, that's the separator? All right. 2 MVPs. So if it's 2 MVPs, that means that if we're doing that, then I got to also add in all the other stuff that Kobe's done that he hasn't done. I got to add that stuff in too, right? If you're doing that. Nah, he wasn't a more athletic Kevin Love, because Kevin Love was a better offensive player than Kenyon Martin. Kevin Love was definitely more skills. He shot the 3-ball better. He had a better post game. He was a better rebounder. So nah, I'm not gonna go Kevin Love. I'm thinking about somebody that's better than average today. That's who I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about a 6'9", 6'10" guy that's better than average. Maybe Bam. Yeah, I think that he would be a Bam type of player today. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that Kenyon Martin would be a Bam type of player today. There is no way to disrespect it though, Ahmad, because Giannis has gotten better every year. That's why I keep saying that I'm not ready to put him in that category yet, because he's still getting better. Still getting better. No, he was better than Robbie Williams. He was better than him. He was a better athlete than Robbie Williams. He was a better offensive player than Robbie Williams. Jabbar to start my franchise. How much stock would you put in Rudy Gobert on a championship squad? He gets made fun of, but he can produce. Absolutely, he can, Anthony. And I think the thing that you're talking about more than anything is impact. I think that's the thing that you're talking about more than anything. Rudy's impact. And when he steps off the floor, how much worse that Utah Jazz team is overall, as opposed to when he's on the floor. What do the Grizz need to do? I think that the Grizz just need to get. They're just young. The Grizz are in a position right now, and I think that they were this year's Atlanta Hawks. They were that team that snuck up on a lot of people. You can't. I don't think that there's a person who watches basketball intensively, that really thought that the Memphis Grizzlies were going to be the number 2 seed in the Western Conference, considering what they did last year. Because I know I didn't. And I watch a lot of basketball. I didn't think that this team was going to be that good. So now what they're going to do is they're going to build off of that. You know, Jaren Jackson's going to come back better. Ja's going to take better care of his body. Desmond Bane's going to come back better. Brooks is going to be better. The difference now is that they're not sneaking up on nobody, though. Everybody's going to be prepared for them now more than they were last season. So I'm real interested to see how they hold up now when teams are ready for them. So, well, Kyrie's in a different situation, because when you look at Kyrie's situation, if he ends up leaving, well, he's opting out of his deal to test free agency, and I don't think that he's playing next season without a contract extension. I do not think that, but I think that his best option is with the Nets. Now, I will tell you this: I think that there's going to be a lot of clauses in that contract. We need you to play a certain amount of games. We need you to be at practice a certain amount of times. I think that there's going to be a lot of incentives in this contract. And there's going to be a lot of money that's going to be held in order for him to be able to collect whatever it is that he needs to collect. So I think the best situation for him is going to be Brooklyn, because all those other teams like the Magic, Indiana, teams like that, they could pay him the most, but I mean, the situation would be a little bit different. It'd be way different. And Kyrie is in a position where, he's got a rep. This is his rep now. This is who he is. He's problematic. And any team that either trades for him or signs him knows that going in. So they got to handle him differently than they handle other people. So to answer your question, I don't think that he leaves Brooklyn, because I think it's the best situation for him. But I think he's got to change who he is. He's got to fall in line a little bit more. Otherwise, it's not going to work. I think that Kyrie to LA thing, I'm good. I think I'm good. That is interesting, having the same field goal percentage. Yeah, he wasn't very good. But I also think that, I also think that it's good for Jason Tatum to have experienced this. I think it's great. I think it's great for him, because the great players, the best to ever do it, this is the type of stuff that happened to them to make them great. When they had a bad playoff series, or they had a bunch of people telling them that you ain't got the goods, you don't. The same thing happened with Jordan. Same thing happened with James. Same thing happened with Jabbar. Same thing happened with Magic. Same thing happened with Bird. All of the greats, all the all-time greats, Olajuwon, Shaq, Bryant, all of these all-time greats. The same thing happened with these guys. And because they were able to persevere, that's what made them great. Because they were able to go, yo, you don't think that I can do this? Or, yo, I got to get in the lab because I'm not good enough. Because they were able to do that, that's what makes them all-time greats. And I think that's what Jason Tatum is going to do. That's just trading one headache for another, King. That's what that is. That's trading one headache for another. Well, here's the thing, Mo. If you trading Poole, you trading him because you're under the impression that we're not breaking up Clay, Dre, and Steph. You are 100% clear on that. And Poole is not going to be the predecessor to Klay Thompson. In fact, not only is Poole not going to be the predecessor, he ain't in your future plans. Now, I know that we're in a position where we got to pay some guys, right? And it's going to get expensive. When you're trying to win an NBA championship, or when you win an NBA championship, these things get expensive. And they get expensive fast. So you got to ask yourself, how long can we keep this group together? How long can we do it? That's the $1 million question. Ahmad, we heard you the first 15 times, man. We got it. All right, Ahmad, we got you. We respect Giannis. Yes, we do. Enough already, my man. All right, we got it. They're not maxing Poole out. No way. They're not doing that. They're not maxing him out. I wouldn't say 2 years. I was thinking 3 tops with KD. He's already starting to slow down. So I'm thinking 3 years before we've seen the best of KD. I'm thinking 3 years tops. I don't think Bradley Beal leaves that money on the table. If the Wizards offer him a supermax, I think he stays in Washington. I think he stays in Washington. He's already dominating the 2020s. What do you mean he's going to dominate the 2020s? He's already doing that. That ain't news. That is not news. Not only did he not play enough, he didn't play good enough. Exactly. He didn't play good enough. Not only did he not play good enough, he didn't play enough. Because when Clay got back, he was getting yanked in and out of the lineup. I don't think Harden is done. And I think Kyrie, he goes back to Brooklyn. I do. But the thing is I think Brooklyn is over him, though. And he's got to convince them. They don't got to convince him. He got to convince them why we shouldn't give up on this. I don't think that they have to convince him. I think that they're over him. He's the one who's been problematic. He's the one who's now developed a rep. So I think that he's got to convince them now. I wouldn't compare Jack Sikma to anybody, Julian. And the reason why is because Jack Sikma primarily played on the box. Like, we don't have guys who play primarily on the box today. Even though Jack Sikma was hell on the box. I did see him working with Olajuwon. Yes, I did. And I think that that's going to help him tremendously. Because he looked like he was getting it. It didn't look like it was a situation where he was like a deer in headlights. Like, oh, no. He looked like he was getting it. Okay, do that again, Olajuwon. Do that again, big fella. Okay, I like that. Let me see if I can get it again. He looked like he was getting it. It didn't look like it was different. Well, my issue with the Phoenix Suns, and I think that they botched this Ayton thing. I don't think that as a player, I think that he's one of the better young players in the game. I don't think that him being a fit in Phoenix is legit. And the reason why I don't think it's legit is because Phoenix is a fast-paced transition up and down team, and Ayton shoots the mid-range at a solid pace. He doesn't shoot the long ball, so he doesn't really stretch the defense. He doesn't defend like I would like him to, right? He doesn't defend like I would like him to. And in the process of him not defending like I would like him to, he doesn't play hard. Like, he only plays hard when they involve him early. He rebounds more. He defends more. You know, he gets in the open floor more. And I do think that they boxed the way that they've handled him. So, and I think that that's over. And I think that with losing him, I don't really see Phoenix back in the middle of it next season as a legit Western Conference champion contender. I don't. Butterfingers. I could see the Clippers if barring any health issues, I could see the Clippers making a lot of noise. I know what I better not see though. I know I better not see Kawhi Leonard go 27, 7, and 8 and not sniff the league MVP. I better not see that. When we got a dude that's averaging, if we got a dude running around averaging, I don't know, 29, 12, and 6, and he's got the highest PER in the game. Meanwhile, Leonard and the Clippers are in first place, and he's 27, 7, and 6. And he doesn't sniff the league MVP. I better not see that. All right, Trey, I'm going to lay this out for you, and I'm going to try to lay this out for you as simple as possible. And a lot of people are going to hate me for this, but I don't care. Here we go, Trey. You ready? Let's do it. Okay, we got 3 competitors, right? We got 3 of them. That's Steph right there. That's KD right there. James right here. Okay, KD, I already beat you. All right? I already beat you. So you and I are done. You have to deal with him before you get back to me. Now, in the process of you dealing with him, he's already beaten you. In fact, the reason why you got with him, because you're thinking, in order to get to me, you got to get with him because you can't get past him. I already beat him. He beat me. And then he recognized, this guy over here, Curry, he beat me. Then I came back and beat him. And then he recognized, well, damn, I don't think I can beat him again. So then this guy gets with this guy, and they go, let's get together and let's beat this guy, which they did. And in the process of them doing that, now the logic is, this guy is better than all of us. Can you make sense of that? Hope I answered your question, Trey. I think Sexton fits in a number of different places. I think he fits in a number of different places. If the Nets were to lose Kyrie, I think he fits in Brooklyn. I think he'd be great in Brooklyn. If I think he would be great in Washington. Actually, no, he wouldn't be great in Washington because he don't pass. So we can't have him and Bradley Beal. Like Russ passed, so that works. That actually worked in Washington because Russ passed. Sexton doesn't pass, so him and Bradley Beal wouldn't work. Not at all. There was a number of different issues that happened in Los Angeles that screwed them up. Yo, Sean, I did see that. And my question is, well, not my question. I look at what the Nets are doing, and they think that they could spend their mid-level exception money somewhere else. They think that they could do better than Claxton. Is Claxton a starter on a championship contender? He may be a starter on a playoff team that's at the bottom of the East. But is he a starter on a championship contender? I think he had a stretch where he missed like 12 or 13 straight free throws, 14 straight free throws. So he's not a starter on a championship contender, right? What kind of What kind of role player is he, or what kind of reserve is he? Does he help Brooklyn as a reserve? Well, I think that they're looking at him like we could do better in the reserve department. Excuse me. I think that they're looking at him like that. I think we could do better. I think we could do better than him as in the reserve department. And I think that we can do better with our mid-level exception money. That doesn't mean that he isn't viable somewhere else. But Brooklyn is in a position where they're trying to win it. And Claxton is still in that developmental stage. Brooklyn doesn't have a lot of guys that are developing. Brooklyn got guys that's trying to win today. I think Wood is gonna help out Luka tremendously, man. I do. I think he's gonna help them out a lot. I do. I think Wood is gonna help them out a lot because he can knock down the mid-range. I think he's one of the better rim runners in the game. Super duper athlete. You know what? That's who Kenyon Martin, that's who he reminds me of. Wood reminds me a lot of Kenyon Martin. That's him right there. That's who Wood reminds me of. He's got a Kenyon Martin. He gives me that Kenyon Martin vibe. Rim runner, can knock down the 15-footer. Yeah, I can get with that. Sure. It just came to me. That guy. Yeah. But I think he's going to be good for Luka. His ability to knock down the mid-range, his ability to eat glass, because they don't have a starting five-man in Dallas. Powell's not a starting five-man. So I think getting Wood, I think that's going to help him out. He's going to be able to speed up their transition game. I'm not sold on him as a rim protector yet, but I'd like to see him become a better rim protector. I like his ability to rebound. I like his ability to score and his ability to run. So the free agent center market is a little tricky. It is because you got guys like Mitchell Robinson, who if I'm the Knicks, I'm letting him walk out the front door. I'm good on him. I'm good. I think he's lazy. He doesn't rebound enough for me. And on top of that, I'm not really sure how dedicated he is to winning. I'm not sure. I don't know how serious. He doesn't strike me as somebody that's that serious. I don't think he's serious enough. Alan, you bugging to say something like that. I completely disagree with that. Jerry West would be a top 20 player today, I think. I absolutely believe that. Yeah. James already said that wherever his son goes, that's where he's going. He already made that clear. He already said that. See, like that kind of logic right there. Jerry West wouldn't even play D1 basketball. I'm good, y'all. I'm straight. I don't like Julius Randle in Miami, man. Nah. I do not like him in Miami at all. I don't think that Miami needs to change much. I mean, they had Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Championship on their home floor. They were one possession away from winning it. I don't think that they're that far away. I don't. Jordan, that is not true. First of all, you talk about James like he's going to be with Bronny for 5 or 6 years. He's only going to play one season with him. And he's going to play one season with him to get him acclimated. What are you talking about? He's not going to stay. You know what that sounds to me like? That sounds to me like that's something else. What else? There's something else underneath there that he's going to stunt his growth. Do you think that he stunted everybody else's growth? Is that what your logic is? Are you saying that everybody else that he played with, they weren't as good? Is that what you're trying to say? And that he's going to screw Bronny up like he screwed up this dude or that dude? Is that what you're trying to say? KD's not going anywhere, Guru. He just signed an extension. He's not going anywhere. Mm-mm. Yeah, Guts, but the problem is that he's under contract, and at $34 million, the Miami Heat ain't eating that. So what are you going to do with him? Ain't nobody trading for Kyle Lowry at $34 million at 35 years old. Nobody's trading for him. So Kyle Lowry got to come back better next year. He's got to come back in better shape. That has to happen. That has to. Off the dribble. If I'm Milwaukee, pick up the telephone. Bring him back. Bring him back. I think Julius Randle fits on a number of different teams. I think he'd be great in Atlanta. I think he's that second or third scorer that would really help Trey. I think he'd be good in Charlotte because Jordan is going to do some goofy. I'm not going to cuss, but Jordan's going to be goofy and let Miles Bridges walk out the front door. And I think he'd be good with Melo. I like him in Chicago as their number 3. I think he helps them. Let's see. Toronto. He would also help them. I can't believe that Jordan's going to be this goofy and let that dude walk out the front door. Because Jordan don't strike me as that kind of dude. He just don't. But I think he will, man. Kyrie to the Clippers. Oof. I don't know if he represents them. Because when I look at Kyrie with the Clippers, I look at Paul George as one of the better defenders in the game. I look at Leonard as one of the better defenders in the game. Irv would they tell Irv that, Irv, all we want you to do is just be buckets. That's it. We don't need you to do nothing else but be buckets. And would he do that? And would he fit with what they're doing? Are they moving off of Reggie Jackson? That's interesting. All right, guys, it's about that time for me. I will see you guys soon. I will try to get on here soon. It's the beginning of the week. We got the draft on Thursday night. We got free agency coming up. So this is almost better than the season. So we got some good conversation coming up. So it's good to see you guys. But until then, I'll see you soon. Take it light. Take it.